Welcome to the Nightmares and Phantasms podcast, where we aim to bring you the best and true and fictional short horror stories. If you'd like to hear your story on this podcast, click the link to our Patreon in the description below and find our submissions page. If you enjoy what you're hearing, please give it a like and a comment on whatever platform you found us on, and don't forget to become a patron. Every little bit helps to keep us doing what we're doing. I'm your host, Malthus Calhoun, and today we have a truly terrifying fictional tale for you to sink your teeth into. So turn the lights out, lock your door, and come with me into the darkness. Fete by Malthus Calhoun. "How was that, sweetheart?" he said, pulling the braid tight and stroking her hair. She looked up at him. Her eyes were as beautiful as the time he first saw them. He returned her gaze with a smile. He loved the way the flickering fluorescent light danced across her face and the feel of her soft hair beneath his fingers. He loved her. This was right. The smell of the rich sizzling meat drew his thoughts to focus. "Oh, almost done, pumpkin." He dropped his hand. She squirmed in her seat in anticipation. She mumbled something, but he didn't care. His joy was too great to notice. His grin widened as he watched the grease bubble in the rugged old cast iron slowly caramelizing the edges of the meat. "It really is the best fat for frying up something right," he said, poking the meat. It had just the right amount of give. "Can't overcook this. It's a delicacy." It was perfect. He slid the fork deep into the meat and transferred it to his old cutting board. His surface was well worn. It had seen many glorious meals just like this one. The smell from the meat resting was intoxicating. It made sweat burst from the skin on his neck, and his mouth filled with saliva in anticipation of the first bite. He looked up at her. She raised her head to meet his eyes. They were wide. She looked so hungry. "We'll let that rest," he said, the smile never leaving his face. "Now for the absolute best cut." He grasped his carving knife and steel, running the blade quickly on its rough surface. She bucked in her seat. A soft mumble issued from her closed mouth. His smile broadened as he sliced into the flesh before him, his blade deftly following the contours of the bones along the cheek. The girl in the chair mewed a deep noise as he finished the cut and laid the meat down on the hot cast iron. It sizzled and popped. "I'm so glad I found you two," he said as he wiped the blade clean on the torn shirt of the lifeless body before him. "College girls are my favorite," he beamed. He went back to the cutting board. "Well, looks like this rested enough," he said as he cut off a thin slice. His eyes rolled as the seared meat hit his tongue. "Such a shame you can't taste this, dear. You made so much noise." He cut another slice, skewering it with the fork tines, and approached his newfound love. Her mouth lazily opened, and a thick current of blood poured forth onto the table. Tears welled in her eyes. She kicked, moaned, and pulled on the restraints as thick flows of crimson spilled down from her open mouth. He ran his fingers tenderly through her hair as he slid the morsel of her own tongue deep into her open mouth. The end. Sometimes gluttony goes hand in hand with murder and cannibalism. At least she couldn't taste her own tongue. Thank you for listening to this woeful tale by Malthus Calhoun. Our audio producer is Brian Scott. Our social media director is Brandon Scott. A great big thank you to all of our patrons. Your help is truly appreciated. If you enjoyed what you heard, please give us a like and a comment on whatever platform you found us on. And don't forget to share with your friends. To submit a story or become a patron, click the link in the description box below. I'm your host, Malthus Calhoun, signing off, and this has been a Lapse of Mind media production. Stay safe out there.